Hey, it's MK, and I am back with Mixed Media Frenzy YouTube Hop. This is the hop that we do at the very end of every month, and we invite all the YouTubers to come and join us. Now, today we are doing a little bit of a grungy layout today, which is just up my style. So I have some gesso here that I'm going to apply with a sponge. I also picked out some paper glaze. Glaze by Picket Fence, and then a couple Nouveau drops that I want to play with as well. Now, I pulled out a ton of product and don't actually end up using all of it. I have this Nouveau expanding mousse in kind of a silver, this glitter Nouveau paste. It's a chocolatey brown. And then, of course, a charcoal ink by Close to My Heart because I didn't want black. I have this awesome chicken wire stencil and then a couple of my go-to kind of mixed media background stamps. I also have some scraps of paper that I have pulled out from here and there. This will be my background paper. Again, it's just by that grungy paper stack that I've been kind of pulling from for the last couple of layouts. I have this photo of a telescope my husband made me just out of junk. That's all it is. I have some wooden gears that I found at Hobby Lobby. And then new to my shop is some digital images. I finally decided to put some digital images in my shop. And so I printed a bunch of them off. Now I printed these off rather large just so I could show the detail of them. But they definitely do not need to be printed off this large. I just was playing around and trying to use up paper actually, so that way I didn't have like leftover bits and pieces. I love it when I can put a ton of images on one sheet of paper and not have anything to keep or stash. I also have some Stamperia chipboard, a couple little gears from Kaiser Craft. I believe that is from Factory 42 or the Workshop, one of the two. I have some balsa wood items by 49 and Market, which I believe are actually designed by Dusty Attic. I have some Tim Holtz little stencil letters, and then these decorative tags by P13. I only have one tag, but I do plan on using the packaging as my scrap paper. I have this one little lonely tag that I plan on disassembling by Creative Memories because I want to use those numbers off to the side. And then again, some scraps that I have left over from Kaiser Craft 6.5 by 6.5 paper pad, as well as a couple 6 by 6 pieces. Well, actually, they're 6 by something pieces that I had left over from previous projects. I believe one is Stampin' Up, and then the other one I have no idea where it came from. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to pick out a couple of these wood veneer pieces. Now, these pieces, again, I found them at Hobby Lobby, not in the scrapbooking section. I actually found them in the woodworking section. And I pulled out one of each different kind that they had, and then I trimmed off those 49 and Market ones. Now I am separating everything into kind of like groups because I don't want all the gears to be different colors. I kind of wanted a little bit of bronzy ones, a little bit of gold ones, a little bit of silver ones, things like that. That way I have different styles or different colors all over my layout. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this gold that is by Picket Fence. It's just a paper glaze, and I'm rubbing the glaze on my paper gears as well as my wooden gears. And this paper, it honestly is just the Close to My Heart white cardstock that is offered in their store. It's not a mixed media paper or anything. But because I am just rubbing it on with my finger, I'm not putting on a whole lot, and it's quite dry by the time that I'm even done with half the gear. The rest of it is completely dried. So yeah, and I will do this for every single one. That way you guys get to see how I mix my product. Now this is the paper glaze first, and then the Nouveau stone drop, which means it has a little bit of grit to it. added on top of it, which I really like. I enjoyed actually, and I thought about doing it for every single one, but decided not to. Again, I'm putting the paper glaze on top first, and I did the exact same thing, leaving a little bit of white space because I thought that the Nuvo drop that I will be using was actually like a solid color, and instead it wasn't. It was almost like a see-through color. I'm not familiar yet how my Nuvo drops work. And so when I pick up a Nuvo drop and the bottle is one color, I kind of expect it to be that color when I put it down. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's kind of transparent. And so that is one thing that I kind of get confused about. So I'm not really sure exactly how I expected these particular gears or this set of gears to turn out. But I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to see how they dry, see if I still like them, so on and so forth. So this one, of course, is my favorite because it's copper. And I'm going to do the copper, and this time I'm doing the Nuvo drop first. And then I have my paper glaze open from the last set, and I'm just going to rub on top, but I'm doing it very, very lightly because I kind of want it to be like a dirty copper or a bronze per se. So I am going to put on the I forgot what it was called already, the paper glaze, and then go back through and kind of mix in more of the Nuvo drop on top. So these ones were definitely my favorite pieces per se. And I am using the Nuvo drop in its entirety. Like, I'm not leaving any blank spaces. I want it all to be copper. I absolutely love this. And so here I am just trying to rub it on as dry as I possibly can to still get the color, but I don't want it to be too I don't want it to be too brown. I still want to see the copper. So I do have to go back with my Nuvo drop and do the copper over the top, just so that way it kind of mixes in with the brown and I get that bronzy look. All right, so here again, I am trying with that almost see-through pastel-y. It says it's gold, but it's so see-through, you could barely tell that I'm putting anything on these gears. And then I'm going to go back through and put the gold paper glaze on top of these gears. And again, it's just too goldy, that it's too yellow of a gold for me. So I am going to take my stone drops, I believe, and actually add a little bit of dirt to it. Not really dirt, but darkness to it. Not too much, because I don't want to take away from it. And then, of course, I squeezed too much. It all came out. I picked it up and kept on going. I did cut that part off where it totally dumped out the whole bottle, you guys. I just took my my rubber or my silicone spatula and scooped it all back in. That's all I did. I did waste some trying to get it back in because it dries uber fast, honestly. So here's the silver ones. The silver ones are the expanding mousse, which is actually kind of cool because I am putting it on so light. I can actually start seeing it crackle, which I'm not sure if it was supposed to do, but especially the wood pieces, they definitely started crackling before I even had the opportunity to get the brown on. And I definitely didn't want it to be too silvery, so I am going to go ahead and make it look like it's a dirty silver rather than a perfect. So then I'm going to go back to that other gold one and put more brown on top because I definitely did not like it at all. All right, so I am going to go ahead and use a brand new bottle of gesso. It's my second gesso bottle ever since starting my mixed media little adventure. And I'm just going to make like a diamond shape because of how it looks in the layout that I'm doing. It kind of looks like a diamond. So that's what I decided to do. And I used what was on my little film over the gesso bottle. I just dumped rubbed it on my layout, and then I took my sponge and kind of blended it in. And now I am taking my stamp, which is like a grid stamp, a distressed grid, and I am just taking that charcoal and I'm making sure that I'm going into the pattern paper as well as into the gesso, because I don't know what is going to be shown by the time I'm done goofing off here. And then I took some word stickers to make it look like it was kind of ledger paper instead of having a ledger stamp. So that was kind of my idea behind mixing the two. And then I decided not to use the brick because I really didn't want to use brick on this layout. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to blend in and match the tone of the paper to make it look like the gesso was kind of see-through instead of so white. So I do want to leave my border of gesso, but just not as much gesso as I was expecting. So I'm just trying to match my Distress Oxides with the paper and try to get it to blend in. And I think I do a good job. I don't know, somewhat. Yeah, maybe. And then I decided that I was going to do the chicken wire exactly where the sketch has me do the chicken wire. And so I really did like it. Now mine isn't a die cut chicken wire, so mine's a little bit on the thinner side, but I am a-okay with how it turned out. Now I'm taking my big huge border pieces and I'm trimming off the extra. I only wanted where the gears were, and that's why when I went through and put down my all my mixed media on top of them, I only concentrated on the gears and not the edges of my border pieces. So then I'm going to back my photo, and I double matted my photo with my favoriteest of all time, Kaiser Craft. It's actually called Time Machine papers. Now these are the last two little papers that I had left over. The green that I put behind my photo as the first mat, and then the one that I just put down, the darker one with all the little off-white circles and whatnot. And yes, I absolutely loved the colors in Time Machine. It is a Kaiser Craft collection that I had. These are the last little pieces that I have left of it. So sad. But I am glad that I got to use all of it. I mean, like every little bit went somewhere, every little bit. So I'm going to start to build my layers before bringing back my, my mixed media background. Just to try to get something going and see if I'm in that right direction, headed in the right direction. So if you look at the sketch, it definitely has a bunch of gears like all around this entire photo. And so I wanted that exact same thing. I wanted all those gears and grungies and whatnot, but I wanted to do paper because I didn't want it to be a heavy layout. I really wanted it to be a pretty light layout compared to how heavy the inspiration layout is. And then, of course, I only wanted to use these Tim Holtz stencil letters as my silver bits. I did not want the letters themselves. So I just cut them in half and put some, all over the layout, basically. And then I'm trying to figure out where I want my large stencils first before I start actually gluing everything down. Now, nothing is glued down right now. I'm just tucking and weaving and trying to find spots for all the things to get this whole layout going. Now, the title kind of sort of doesn't make sense, but it's adventure, and then it's going to be like a comma that doesn't really exist, and it says go beyond timeless. So it's kind of like, this was my husband's first kind of sort of like, creating something from nothing type thing. It's his assemblage project. He's a mechanic that works on drills, and every now and then he brings home some strange stuff. Like instead of a flower garden, I have a gear garden, you guys. One of these days I will share it with you guys. But I have gears that are all the way from probably, 3 feet around to 1 foot around, and they are all intermixed in around flowers and plants and things like that. But I have gears in there, and I absolutely love it. And he brought home this drill bit, and I said, you know what? That looks like a telescope. It looks like a lens for a telescope, and I really wanted him to build me a telescope. Now, I didn't necessarily like the fact that it's straight and it's not looking up at the stars, So he's trying to, we actually took this part off, and we're trying to figure out how to get it to go up and make it look like it's looking up at the stars. But when he showed me what he made, I just fell in love with it. And he took a bunch of these spigots and knobs and spouts and things like that off my mom had laying in her garage before she moved. Just all this weird junk, and made it look like it was the knobs and turning bits and pieces of a telescope. And I just loved that. Honestly, it was just so cool. So anyways, when I came home from work one day and he had this halfway made, I just was so ecstatic and so excited that he tried this and loved doing it too, by the way. But yeah, it was so fun to see this piece of art, and and it's mine. And he was so giddy to get it to be made. But like I said, we're trying to cut a pipe so that way it can be tilted a little bit and be looking up at the stars. Not that the drill bit has a hole in it by all means, but it's a, an imaginary telescope. And it's one of a kind. And I absolutely am just thrilled with how it looks. And I had to document it because it was his first time project ever, where he took stuff like that and an idea that we had together and made something and welded it for me. So anyways, but I do want to talk a little bit about, so this is the part that I'm horrible about, by the way. I want to talk about what this Mixed Media Frenzy YouTube hop is. Now, every Friday, the Mixed Media Frenzy gals get together and we do a mixed media layout, trying to focus on the different techniques and different backgrounds and different things we can do with our mixed media. But the last Friday of every month is a YouTube hop, which means that we invite lots and lots and lots of other gals. So we share this particular layout. Sorry, I almost said sketch. We share this particular layout on our Facebook group at the beginning of the month, and anybody that wants to sign up gets to sign up and hang out and play along with us with this particular layout. And then we all just hop around from different channel to channel to channel, checking out how everyone's interpretation went with this particular sketch. Now, I happened to pick this sketch for this one. I was so ecstatic, but yet so nervous too, because not everybody has the exact same touchy-feely style as I do. And so I was a little nervous putting this one out there, but seeing all the gals and how excited they were when I did share this sketch that I found on Pinterest with them, that I cannot wait to see what everyone else makes. But here is my final layout and all the little close-ups. If you guys are interested in seeing what everybody else is making, all their links to their channels are down below, so be sure to check them out as well. And I will see you guys on the next round. See you next Friday. Bye.